Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic, what is today's topic? Today's topic is, oh my heavens, it didn't update. Wow. So I had updated all of the description in Restream. I had technical difficulties this morning, one thing after another, crazy. So today's topic is unconditional love. And we've been, good morning, Roslyn, welcome. We've been talking all week about love and connection and in a relationship and letting love in. And I thought it would be great to continue with the theme of the week and look at unconditional love and what happens to unconditional love when we encounter conflict and disagreement and challenges in life. So I think that'll be a fun topic. But before we get started, let's just take a minute or two to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding into your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing your cells and your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale any negativity, fatigue, and discomfort. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, energizing all your molecules, all your electrons, illuminating your cells, lighting you up from the inside out. And as we exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's just gently press our palms together. Softly rub your fingers against your palms. Feel the deliciousness of that sensation and allow yourselves to become present right here, right now. Welcome. It's Friday. And we've had a big week talking about love and connection and receiving love. And we talk a lot about unconditional love. And we get to take a look at what does that mean? You know, I find that unconditional love is something that we can experience, even maybe besides just talking about it, but that we can experience when things are good, you know, when we're in a place of peace, when we're feeling supremely connected. We can be filled with this sense of unconditional love. And it is almost a sense. It's experiential. Good morning, Isabel. It's wonderful to have you here, and welcome. So, unconditional love. When things are good, when we're feeling especially connected, we can be expressive of that love. And what happens when we're experiencing challenges? Good. Hello and welcome, Robert. Welcome. It's great to have you here with us. And Andrea, welcome. Great to have you here with us and everybody else who's joining us. We're talking about unconditional love and how to manifest that how it manifests in our day-to-day lives. So I think probably most of us would agree that unconditional love is our intention, you know, that we would prefer to be operating from that space of wholeness, connection, flow. And yet life happens. And so what happens to unconditional love in the face of conflict or in the face of tremendous stress or in the face of extreme situations like tragedy or upset, what happens to unconditional love? And is it manifest in our behavior? So I think we get to maybe start drawing some distinctions between the feeling of unconditional love and the intention or the commitment of unconditional love. And what does that mean? So I think it's possible to love someone and not especially like them in a given moment. I don't think unconditional love means tacit acceptance of all things. If someone is treating you badly, you get to respond to that, hopefully respond rather than react. And if we're coming from a place of unconditional love, hopefully that gives us more capacity to respond rather than react. And maybe we don't like that person in that given interaction, and yet we can still know that we love them. We might not be as connected within our hearts to that love, and yet we know that we love them regardless of their behavior. So good morning, Dennis. So good to have you here. Ooh, excuse me. So I guess I'm wondering, for you and for me, is unconditional love a commitment, an intention, or is it an experience? And I suspect that it's both, and that we can still be knowing that we love someone unconditionally, while at the same time our behavior might not be a demonstration of that. And I guess we get to look at, is it possible, and I tend to think it is it possible to demonstrate love in anger? Is it possible to have a forceful expression of something? We hear of tough love. Is that, or can it also coexist with unconditional love? Does unconditional love mean unconditional acceptance? Does it mean that we have to accept all behaviors if we're loving unconditionally? I don't think it does. And I'm enjoying this conversation with you about love, because there's so many facets, there's so many nuances and so many intricacies to understanding what is love. Like, even in the face of deep conflict with another person, we can presence ourselves to our love for them. And I wonder, when we're engaged in conflict, are we just losing touch with that love? Or, where is it? Does it flicker in and out? I mean, if it's unconditional love, we would think that it would be always present, always accessible. But is it? There are moments when we get caught up in our reactivity and being right, feeling separate, and then there are moments when we can come back from that feeling of separation into our presence to love. So what's going on there? I think it's a really interesting thing to explore. So Rosalind says the feeling might feel like it changes because an action is not expressed. For me, love is expressed in words, and I know my loved ones don't always show me the love in the language I recognize. 100%. So I thank you for that, Rosalind. I guess we get to look at, again, the degrees of love. If is unconditional love the same as romantic love? Is unconditional love the same as love within a family? My growing up, my experience was that love was very conditional, and based on my behavior, or which way the wind was blowing, whatever. So what is this idea of unconditional love? Does it mean you can behave any way you want and I'm okay with it? I don't think it means that. I think that, so I know with certain members of my family, I do love them unconditionally. I don't always like them. I don't always like what they're doing. But their behavior doesn't impact the fact that I love them. Like that is just, even if I'm not present to that experience, the emotional experience of love, I have a knowing commitment to that. And so I'm wondering, especially with unconditional love, how connected it is with our emotions, if at all. I think that there are moments when we experience being love, when we really experience being present to that love, that we channel, or that is the nature of the universe. But I think there are many times when we are not connected. And so if we're not emotionally connected, if we're not experientially connected to that experience of love, is it still present? Or is it only present when we call it forth? So I guess maybe this is the nature of reality, that things flicker in and out of existence based on our attention. And I guess what I'm wondering is, we create continuity of thought for ourselves to say, for instance, for me to say, I unconditionally love these people in my life, regardless of their behavior, which I may not like from time to time, for example. Good morning, Josie. Welcome. Great to have you here with us. We're talking about unconditional love, and kind of also the nature of reality, as to whether do things flicker in and out of existence with our attention. I mean, that may or may not be the case. And so is unconditional love a constant? And if it is what is it that makes it constant? Is it our underlying commitment? I wonder, because sometimes we're present to that commitment and sometimes we're not. So is it something that flickers in and out of existence? And that it does unconditional love exist because we declare it? Or is it something that that is just foundational and ever present? So Rosalind says, love is always present, even though our focus or actions are not expressed. So I think that love is, and this is a hypothesis, again, don't believe me, try things on for yourself, but this is a working notion of mine, is that love is, and we get to tap into it or not periodically with our awareness, right? The question is, in our own experience of love, is it ever present in us, or is it only present in us when our awareness brings it forward? So I think we can apply that to anything. We can say any of our personality traits. Am I present to? Can I say that I'm creative, or am I only creative when I'm being creative? And how are we bringing ourselves into being? How are we manifesting our experience? We have different degrees of attention, and our attention goes all over the place. So when I'm immersed in doing a project, for example, if I'm completely focused on that, am I still love? Maybe we can say academically yes, but I'm wondering, especially with unconditional love, how does that shift and change based on circumstances? If indeed it does, maybe it doesn't. Maybe the unconditional love is what foundationally defines us, and it never changes despite our behavior. That's another really important question. Is love demonstrated by behavior, or can love be there regardless of behavior? Can I act really terribly to you and still love you? And if I am present to that love, can I really act terribly toward you? I think that this is a valuable conversation, because I think we throw the words love and unconditional love around a lot, and without, I think, a lot of reflection. And Maggie's doing her bow. Yeah, Maggie. So Maggie, I love her unconditionally. That was a good bow, Maggie. Good bow. Good girl. Big bow. Let's see if she'll do it. Big bow. Nope. She likes to do it when she likes to do it. But anyway, so Maggie's a good example. I love her, and I know that I love her unconditionally. And there are times when it's really, I'm not connected to that because she's bitten me and hurt me, or she's done something that I felt upset about. And in that moment, I'm not connected to that love for her. So Rosalind, you make such a good point. Rosalind says, I can love my family from a distance. Exactly. So this is what I'm talking about, is we can have love for family from a distance. And when we're present in the mix, in the trenches, then does our love disappear, or does our presence to it evaporate? What happens? Is love something that remains ever present despite the circumstance, or does it come in and out of existence based on our attention? Now, I know, I mean, I get, and this is again theoretical, I get you saying that love is constant, love exists always. And I tend to believe that that's true. And that's a belief, because there are moments when I express love and moments when I don't. There are moments when I'm consciously connected to love and moments when I'm not. And there are people that I can love from a distance. There are people that I wouldn't want anything to do with at all, and yet I can find a place of love for them. So I think when I say I can find a place of love for them, in a bigger picture, without the intrusion of, or the inconvenience of life itself, then the inconvenience of circumstance imposing on relationship, I can source a place of unconditional love, and it's sometimes very difficult to, sometimes it's just purely not present when engaged in interactions. So Isabel says, unconditional love is what we can just allow to be vulnerable to love. That's when we can feel we're in a place from love. And I agree with you, Isabel. I think that we can presence ourselves to love and to unconditional love, and what I'm trying to reconcile here is how our day-to-day experience, our day-to-day lives play into unconditional love, right? So Isabel says, in other words, the vulnerability of love restricts us or not. And so I think, we've been exploring, thank you for that, Isabel. This week we've been exploring different dimensions of love of others, love of self, letting love in, intimacy. But I think this notion of love and how it's expressed, whether romantic love, personal love, unconditional love, I think it warrants some review, some engagement, because when I say I love you, I might not be feeling it at that moment. I might be really angry. And I can say I love you and mean it, even though I'm not in touch with the emotion of it. So then in that instance, love is a commitment. Love is a stand. Love is a principle almost from which to move, to use it as a foundation to say, I love you. Right now I'm pissed. Right now I don't want to be around you, and I love you. So what is that? What is that? That becomes like a moral directive. I don't know if moral is the right word, but a conviction, a commitment. And at that point, it has nothing to do with emotion at all. And what is it that we're asserting our commitment to? If love doesn't dictate behavior, if I can do something heinous to you and still love you, say I love you and mean it, what is it? what is it that we are talking about here? So Rosalind says, love is always there. When we measure it, then that's conditional love. I'd love stronger if you can tap into it faster. Wouldn't that be conditional? I'm not entirely clear what you're saying there, Rosalind. So I think that we confuse the conviction of love, the commitment of love, with the emotional experience of love. I don't know that we have to be feeling love in a moment in order to behave out of love, to act out of love, to find that commitment. Even though I might be feeling angry, I can still choose to move out of loving, or I can still love you even if I'm angry at you, for instance. And if that's true, what we're seeing is that love is not defined by an emotional experience. There's something else there. And so Isabel says, I appreciate more actions that prove love than words because of my childhood. By letting that go, I like a balance of both. I got you, Isabel. It's awesome. And so we experience love, or we interpret love based on different things. If somebody treats me poorly all the time and tells me that they love me, it makes it harder for me to believe, right? And yet, even though we may be engaged in relationships that are filled with friction and perhaps even disagreement, whatever, we can still love somebody. What does that mean? What does it mean? How does it show up? And Rosalind says, is love stronger measured by how fast you can tap into it? Set aside any grievances. Oh, that's interesting. So if I'm really angry, is the measure of my love how quickly I can get past my anger? I don't know. I don't know that that's necessarily true. Then, how are we connecting love and forgiveness? We were looking at love and self-love, and part of that is self-acceptance, self-forgiveness. And so it's possible that you can love somebody whose behavior is absolutely unacceptable. Doesn't mean and the distinction here is the person is not the behavior, or the being, the object of the love is not the behavior. So lots of complexity that we get to explore. I think it's worth thinking about, because this is one of the things that there are so many assumptions around the word love. And there's, as we've been exploring this week, there's so many dimensions of love. And I think when we are able to gain greater clarity around it, it may shift our behavior. It may at least shift the way that we use the words. But I tend to think that love is a commitment. Like when I say to someone, I love you, I'm choosing to, I'm affirming a connection. And particularly in my family, like I love certain members of my family unconditionally. Now, my question is if we are being love, do we love everyone and everything unconditionally? You know, or are we selective in who we love? And Rosalind says, people show love and receive it differently. Learning their love language is an expression of showing love. Absolutely. And I think the love that we're showing there may be distinct from unconditional love as well. I think that for the most part, we don't operate from unconditional love. I think for the most part, and maybe this is just my limited perception, but I perceive that most of the expressions of love that we have are pretty conditional. So to move into a space of unconditional love, that it transcends circumstance. And if it's transcending circumstance and we're interacting with life from responding and reacting to circumstance, then unconditional love transcends that, right? But we fall in and out of love with people, right? We fall in and out of love is a different thing. It's a very different thing. And my tendency is to think that very much or very often the falling in love piece is pretty conditional. Again, I could be jaded, and I'm not saying that's the truth. I'm saying that that's my perception at this moment, and it's only my perception. So you may feel differently about it. Anyway, I just want to say thank you for this wonderful week of exploring love and what it is, what it means, how we express it. And I think for me anyway, I've come up with more questions than answers, but that's fine too. That's not a bad thing at all. And yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity to hash through these things with you. I find it really interesting to be questioning some of the foundational ideas and assumptions that we live with ongoingly. So anyway, I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live each weekday morning here on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page. And I'm just so grateful for you and for the community of Enlightened World Network. And I encourage you to check out the other wonderful programming on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page, as well as EWN One with the Earth and Enlightened World Living. And let's carry love into our weekends in its myriad forms. And I so look forward to seeing you next week. Lots and lots and lots of love to you.